Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here with my friend Keith, and we are going to be doing a few discussions on the watch community today. But before that, um, I've been thinking of doing something like a fun fact or something before we start, just so that people can filter in. Um, so I was wondering, okay, let's see, a good fun fact. A good fun fact. I got nothing.
I was gonna say, I hope you don't ask me because I got nothing at the ready right now.
No, yeah, I got nothing. I have a few written down here, but they're so basic that it's not even worth
But people can learn about you. Which one of the basic ones?
Did you know? Did you know that wristwatches were first intended for women?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there you go. Did you know that they were popularized with men during the war? I think everyone knows that. The First World War.
Yeah, I don't know if I knew that. I
Oh,
think I knew the women one, but not the popularized during the war.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because they used to have time sort of pocket watches, and it was far more easier to look
mm,
at your wrist. And yeah, when people were dismissed from the war, they brought their watches with them, and they wore them. It became really cool to wear wristwatches, and then became popular for men to wear.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, we
Rolex.
learned something today. Well, I learned something. I'll
Yeah,
say
there
that.
you go. Rolex actually popularized it further because they were on the ball as,
Okay.
uh, as legends go. But they like hired influencers, ambassadors, to wear their watches, like famous actors and athletes, and it became even cooler. And then soon everyone was wearing a wristwatch. Yeah. Peter, good to see you, Peter. He says that he remembers it well. That's a good one. Bobby's here too. Good to see you, Bobby. Bobby has a fun fact. JLC is the only brand to make movements for all three Holy Trinity brands. Wow, that I did not know that. There you go. Another fun fact. All right, so I think that's enough fun facts for the start. So what are you wearing, Keith? I know what you're
Uh,
wearing, but
I'm wearing a new purchase actually. I just picked it up.
yeah,
Um, a watch I was obsessed with for a long time, the Oris Aquas Clean Ocean.
there it is.
It's the 39.5 millimeter limited edition Oris Aquas with like the blue tealish dial.
Yeah, I turquoise is probably a good description.
Okay, that's a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have that watch. It was one of my favorites. I yeah, I did sell it because it didn't sit too comfortably on my wrist. But how
It's
are you
actually
finding
been
it?
it's actually been more comfortable than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I felt like time was running out to get a good deal on a new one since it's limited edition. So
yeah,
you originally gave me a heads up about an AD in Canada that had it,
yeah,
and I had never tried it on, and I was too nervous to go try on an Aquas because of COVID and everything. And finally, the COVID rates seemed to go down. So I just went to the closest Oris dealer by me, and they had the Clean Ocean there, even though it wasn't on their website. I was not expecting that at all. So
yeah,
it was a nice surprise.
yeah, yeah. That's very exciting. Um, you you got a good discount, I hope.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, didn't ask you while we were pre-rambling, but
Oh yeah.
how'd that go? The negotiations, and since we've talked about it
It
in
went
the
okay. When I walked in there at first, they had like a 15% off sale going on.
yeah,
So right away, before I even said anything, oh, it's 50% off sale. And then I was like, deciding, do I want this? Do I not want this? And then they automatically dropped or gave me a bigger discount. And then I asked them for like a little more off, and they met me halfway. So I was happy with how it went. It's
yeah,
way better than any price on any Clean Ocean you'll find online right now.
Yeah.
especially new. So
Yeah.
yeah, no regrets this time.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's great to hear. It all worked out then. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was good that things didn't work out with the Canadian AD. Uh,
yeah. I was gonna call them again, but with the importing and the
yeah.
not trying it on, I didn't do that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, maybe I'll contact them and see if they still have it, and we'll be watch twins.
oh yeah,
I do regret selling mine because I, you know how silly it is that we attach emotions or memories to watches. I have done that in the past, I guess. And the Clean Ocean was the one I wore. Not I didn't expect to, but I wore it when my third child was born. So
oh, okay.
it was like a surprise. The baby came a month early. Um, so I was sleeping. I think I had the Clean Ocean just in the drawer. I just grabbed it and threw it on. But I was like, before that, I was planning, okay, which watch am I going to wear to my child's birth?
Mm.
And it happened to be the Clean Ocean.
And then you got rid of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's that emotional aspect of me that takes over sometimes, and then there's the logical aspect of me. And the logical aspect or the logical side of me was like, it doesn't wear well on your wrist. You could trade it for something else, and get something
Mm.
new for the channel, and experience something new. And logic won that day, but the what would you call it? The emotional side of me has not let me forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what drew me to the watch was the dial. And
Yes.
every time I've seen every YouTube video that has a Clean Ocean, even some that aren't in English. Every time I see it, I'm just like, oh man, that dial looks so good.
Yeah.
So going forward, you're going to have less views on your channel since I won't be looking at those Clean Ocean videos anymore.
Yeah. That's funny.
Actually, before I knew you, I had watched those videos a lot, and
Yeah.
then I met you, and then while later on, I started to watch those videos again. I'm like, oh hey, it's Sanjay's videos that I was watching.
Yeah.
I didn't even put two and two together at first.
That's funny. Yeah, and that was why I was really drawn to the caliber 400, the Aquis 43.5 millimeter, because I hadn't. My AD got it a day early, and they showed it to me because I happened to be there a day before launch, and when they showed it to me, I was like, "This is the Clean Ocean dial," and I'm looking
Oh
for the
yeah.
Clean Ocean, and I always preferred for it to be in a bigger case, with the 43.5 millimeter case. And I was like, they did it. And so I didn't even hesitate on the caliber 400 when I did get it. But the stuff that happened after that.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Oris sizes before, and I had, then I tried on the 43.5, the 41.5, the 39.5, and I felt like the other two were just too big, way too big. I don't
Yeah.
know how you do it, but then they were considerably heavier too.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you just get used to it after a while.
Yeah. 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 I haven't seen a 41.5 yet, but my AD is opening up on Monday. We're
Okay.
fully coming out of lockdown. We've got like this weird zone thing going on in Canada or in Ontario, and my AD was in a zone that was still locked down, and we had come out of a zone or come out of lockdown in our zone. Um, but their zone is getting released on Monday, so I should be able to go at some point and take a look at a 41.5 millimeter Aquis. See if my theory that the 41 is the perfect one would win.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, when I
moving.
tried on the 41, I thought they made a mistake and it was the 43.5 because they seem so similar. I mean, 2 millimeters, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm wearing the Grand Seiko SB GJ201 Mount Iwate GMT High Beat. Um, I actually got pretty close to. I was seriously considering selling this, um, even though it's one of the two keepers in my collection, because my AD showed the white birch, birch styled SLGH 005 on their website, and I was like, whoa, they got one in already, and was thinking, I could just it wouldn't mess up my set because the white birch is a high beat, and it's the new high beat, and it's a white dial or a silver white dial, and it would fit perfectly. It would replace this perfectly. But yeah, I couldn't. At least as of now, I couldn't.
Do you have any memories attached to that watch so you'd
No, I
regret it
don't.
later?
No, no memories on this one yet. But yeah, I'm trying not to do that. That's not smart.
Now, do you have any regret of having all white dial? Do you wish you had some varied colors in your Grand Seiko collection, or?
I think we'll get into that
Yeah, okay.
in the in the topic, but yeah, uh, I sometimes do, but
Okay.
not always. But yeah, we'll delve into that a bit deeper. Rob is here from Bobby Legs YouTube channel, guys. Check his channel out. We're actually going to be doing a show tomorrow, a live show tomorrow, reviewing YouTube videos, like the big videos from the week from big YouTubers. And Rob thought that would be a good idea, and I agree. That sounds really fun to just sit
I think
around.
it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to join in, go subscribe to Bobby Legs.
Well, it's funny because my wife knows that I watch a stream by a guy named Bobby Legs, and she's always asked me, "Why is this name Bobby Legs?" And I don't know the answer. He may have said, and maybe I forgot or something. It's like, maybe I'll ask him sometime.
It's his last name. It's Lignosky, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it's short form for
I gotcha.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was weird at first too.
I mean, he had some good-looking legs or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Good looking legs, not good looking figures. JC, good to see you. Wearing his Grand Seiko Snowflake. SPGA 211. Oh. The SPGA 211 is the Snowflake. Might be the SPGJ white pinstripe dial. SPGJ something or other. GMT. That's it. It's a beautiful watch. SPGJ 209, maybe? SPGA 211? SPGJ. Sorry. I'll move on. Bobby is wearing his Milgauss Z Blue. Oh, beautiful. It's a really nice one. Oh, SPGJ. There we go. SPGJ 211. Good to see you, JC. Good to see you, Anson. It's got the Tissot PRX silver dial. Oh, very nice.
That's a new one, right?
Yeah. Joyce Math is here too. Good to see you. Love the GS you have. Looks awesome. And Watch Once Over is here too. All right. Oh, there we go. Bobby answered. It's a nickname from college. I had no idea what to call my channel, so I just called it Bobby Legs.
I'm going through the same thing. I'm trying to name an Instagram. I have an Instagram, but I've never promoted it, and it's just for friends and family, really. But I just open it up, and I thought I had a good name, and all the variations of it are taken, and I don't know what to call it. So I'm still thinking.
Yeah. Well, Keith. Well, how come you named it Keith is early?
Because my last name's Early.
Oh, okay.
So I changed my name into a sentence.
Yeah. That's good. Miguel is here too. Good to see you, Miguel. Marat, good to see you. Wearing a JLC Reverso. Oh, beautiful. Which one? What color? Just bought a new old stock Sarb 033.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Hope you got a good deal, Eric. All right, so let's get started on the topic, the watch community. So we are going to be basically going over a couple of things about the watch community, what it means to be a part of the watch community, what is the watch community, I was thinking. So if you guys have any thoughts or comments, be sure to sound off on the chat, and we'll read it. But I was thinking there are a few arms or wings of the watch community. One would be the forums, one would be YouTube, one would be Instagram. Instagram's a big one, and Facebook, which would probably fall in with forums, and there was one other I was thinking. Reddit would probably fall in with forums as well. So we've got the watch fora, Instagram, and YouTube as the main wings. I would think as the watch community, and I was uh, pondering about how being a part of the watch community would influence us. I know being a part of the watch community rather than just being a watch enthusiast has definitely uh, altered my behavior in a few ways, and we'll go into that. I'll confess to how being a part of the watch community has altered my behavior. But uh, if I was going to put forward what the watch community kind of does to us as watch enthusiasts. So I don't know if you have anything to comment on, Keith.
I'll
Before
let you start. I'll jump in.
yeah, yeah, okay. So first, I was going to think about how the watch community, being a part of the watch community, has maybe uh, influenced or changed my watch journey. Um, so before I got into watches, I used to be a tech head, and I used to be a reviewer of technology. And the channel never really got kicked off. It was starting to get kicked off. I got monetized, and this was going like 10 years ago now. But we got monetized and was making some money. But and then I kind of quit the tech sphere. But once I got into watches, I started to really pick apart what I really like about watches and what I wanted to purchase, my budget, and so on and so forth. And I think one of the last watches I purchased, being just solely a watch enthusiast, was probably the Seiko SJE 073. So this was the frosted dial. Um, High end, like the really thin movement Seiko watch, and I sold my enamel dial Seiko to make that purchase, and that was probably the last one. And I noticed there weren't any YouTube videos on that because I was looking for YouTube videos to be able to make a informed decision to purchase. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, and if someone else is in the same predicament, I'm going to make a YouTube video. And that was my very first YouTube video, just unboxing the SJE 073. So since I've entered now into the watch community and the watch social media, uh, now once I started to get deeper and deeper, once I started to do more videos, more reviews, more just chronicling my thoughts as I accumulated and sold off stuff. Um, and the channel started to grow. One main way where my involvement affected my collecting was the fact that I had to purchase or sell off or start that flipper mentality. I had to keep a rotation going, not within my watch collection, but I had to sell something, get something in, trade something, get something in, and then do a review on that, and then move forward. And so that was one way in which being a part of the watch community / social media really affected me. And I think a lot of us have an Instagram page or YouTube channel, or um, we're involved in the forums, so that this I thought this might be a good topic for us to discuss. So one way that being a part of this community has affected me is the fact that I did not settle on a piece as I normally would have, settled on a few pieces, consider it spent money, and stuck with it. It became more like stocks in a sense, or assets, right? It became
Okay.
fluid, and the collection didn't become solid. And so that was one way in which my behavior was altered just by being part of this. How would you say you have any experience in that sense regard, or any?
Yeah, because I mean, because I don't have a YouTube, or I'm not like active on posting pictures on Instagram or something. I don't.
Yeah,
I think the only time it comes to that is like when we're in one of the chat group that we're in, or on a live stream, everyone's post what watch you're wearing today, and it's like I'm wearing the same watch. Like I have two watches, that I mainly rotate out.
yeah,
So I always feel weird, just especially now with COVID. I'm literally sitting in the same spot every day.
Yeah.
wearing the same watch. It's like I could post a picture I posted last week and you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
But I'm always kind of pushing back on, internally on feeling the need to show off a different watch or anything like that. I like being the person who's wearing the same watch because I think it's rarer.
Mhm.
And I think there's also, there's also Instagrams where people do have the same watch, but also make great content.
Yes.
I think of the Instagram stuff and watches. I don't know if you follow him.
Yeah.
He's a photographer. He has like a collection of, I don't know, let's call it 6 watches. He's not as active anymore, but even when he was, he's posting every day. It's pretty much pictures of those 6 watches, but he'd give a lot of a thought behind it too. So I think there's a way in when you look at someone like I think like Bark and Jack, he doesn't have he's not a he doesn't seem like a flipper or he
Mm.
rotates a lot of watches, but he somehow comes up with more and more content based on the same watches that he has. So I think, yeah, there's definitely ways to go about it, but yeah, it affects different people differently.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, I suppose, in a sense, because I kind of I don't really want to grow the channel per se, but then I you kind of it feels like a game as well. And so there's that game mindset in my
Hmm.
head where you see numbers that are going up and you want to fuel those numbers, and so in so doing, you kind of have to make it fresh, I guess, right?
Right.
Instead of taking pictures of the same watch over and over again, which is fine. And like you mentioned, stuff in watches. Even our friend Brandon, the Minute Marker,
Oh
he
yeah.
great content on Instagram
Hmm.
with his watches. And so you don't have to keep buying, you don't have to keep selling, you don't have to flip, beg, borrow, steal. You don't have to do any of those things.
Right.
You can have a very healthy Instagram account, a very healthy YouTube account, by not just purchasing. And I think of my friend Shaluso as well, a great YouTube channel, and he does all sorts of really great videos, and he doesn't keep buying. But I
Hmm.
guess yeah, you had to have that kind of personality, I guess.
Hmm.
In my sense, I guess I'm a bit analytical. I'm not great at it, but I'm a bit analytical, and I prefer to review things. And so, yeah, that was one way in which I was affected. So, skipping over to Instagram,
Hmm.
uh, another way my behaviors have been altered is that I used to wear the same watch for a week at least, and now I feel like I need to wear something different. Again, to the end that the Instagram feed looks fresh, looks varied when someone's scrolling through it. It looks like it doesn't look like the same watch. It doesn't look stale or plain. So I feel like I have to do all sorts of different things, and wear all sorts of different watches. And so it's gone come down to the point where I wear the same watch maybe 2 days in a row, if even. So yeah, that's another way. Again, I'm not proud of any of these things. I'm actually really ashamed of it, but I feel like it's a good way to talk about it. Um, and yeah, so another way my behavior has been altered is that I tend to rotate through my watches way more now, and it actually resulted in me having, like you asked me if I kind of regret only having white GS dials.
Hmm.
And it actually has resulted in me looking into purchasing a different colored GS, Grand Seiko. And the watches I do purchase, I'm like, okay, I need a black dial next, just so there's a bit more flair in the
Uh,
Instagram page, right? um, so again, not proud of this, really really embarrassed. But it is a way in which my mindset has been shifted, to the point where now I am wearing the same watch less every day, and to the end that I would grow my Instagram account, grow my YouTube account. Um, Again, no intention of making it my job or anything. It's just become a game to me in a sense.
right.
And yeah,
I
that's
mean, me as a consumer, more of a consumer than a creator of watch content, I like when I find people with small and intentional collections, and I know their watch collection, like Brandon. I know it's going to be the Black Bay 36 of 58 or the Aquaterra, and if you could find ways to make that interesting, or you don't even have to. I think it's cool, as opposed to people where it's like, well, what watches do you have? Is this yours? Are you borrowing this, or do you
Yeah.
just keep flipping one every week?
Yeah.
But everyone looks for something different. So
Yeah. 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 So it's another way in which I've been altered. Let's jump into the chat real quick. Joe Smith, I put this comment up a little earlier. He's wearing his black Alpinist with the shark teeth. It's a really cool watch. Is it still on a Perlon, Joe Smith? It was really cool to see it on that black Perlon. Naked leg diamonds and crime. Chaz from the Berg is here. Good to see you. He says he's late. That's all right. We'll be here for a while. So I think being a part has made me more knowledgeable and has helped me be able to appreciate other people's timepieces by actually knowing something about their watch. That's a good point. Yeah, being a part of, being really enthusiastic, being a part of the community, and participating in like these live streams and stuff. I learned about Sartori Billard for the first time through Amin's live streams. I would not have known anything about Sartori Billard. I would not have known anything about Kudoki if it weren't for Rob's and Amin's live streams with Joe. And so yeah, and a lot of German watches. I've learned a lot about German watches and all these things just because we're part of the community. Not just consuming the content, but because we kind of went into those live streams and we're kind of interacting right now, right? So that's I think what it means to be part of the community and part of the social media framework, I suppose. But yeah, that's a really good point, JC. All right. JC also says I sometimes wear 3 different watches per day. Yeah, I tend to switch once I get home and I put on my Oris Oris Pro Pilot or my Seiko Steelmaster. Those things are pretty bulletproof and can take a beating. Not that my other watches can't, but they are definitely up there. So I do change at least once a day. Getting to know watch people across nations too, like what we have now. Good morning from Simcor. Good morning. Yes, that's very true as well. Yeah, and we wouldn't have met if it wasn't for the watch community, Keith and I, and Keith being in Chicago, it would have never happened.
right.
Me being in Toronto, Mr. B, we had a live stream the other day. Mr. B being in Germany, and all sorts of great conversations have come up because of the watch community. So a lot to be thankful for. All right. Do you have any other thoughts, Keith, before I jump to the next one?
The next part of this topic or a different topic?
Next part of this topic.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
I think Sands of Time's comment's kind of interesting. That he says,
I
don't know if,
there you go. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it.
Being a part of the watch community kind of shapes what you like, and eventually at one point I lost my own tastes. I learned from this and started getting what I liked regardless of opinion. Very true. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like I'm the only one that's been obsessed with the Clean Ocean. Like, for some reason, that's just a watch that I really drew to.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that you do start to look at what other people have, but that's how you find stuff.
Yep.
If someone has something you've never heard of, and then you see it, like you said, like you were saying before, and that gets you into it, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, definitely not. Have you seen the whale shark? Oh yeah, of course you have, because of the streams that we watch together.
Oh yeah. I made a comment that I felt like I'm not big on the, maybe if I saw it in person, I feel differently, but the textured dial, I feel like
Yeah.
kind of looks like a skin disease or something. I know
Oh,
it's after the whale,
yeah,
but I think that would take some getting used to. And
yeah,
maybe it's just when it's zoomed in, I like it less than if you were just looking at it, not,
yeah,
not in a macro shot or something.
right. I always thought it looked like when a car has freshly waxed paint
Oh
and,
yeah.
and it rains and it looks
Oh
like
yeah.
beads of water. It, so I kind of liked it. That's a kind of the look that you really like when you're into car detailing and stuff like that. But yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah. Now see, you're changing my mind about it already.
yeah, I liked it, and then I saw the price, and I was like, whoa, what happened?
I didn't see the price. What is it?
It's almost the same price as a Caliber 400
Oh,
Office. And I believe the GMT movement that it has is the SW330
okay.
Lita. So I'm not sure why the price went up so much. If I'm not mistaken, the Curious Fort was a GMT. I think it had the same movement, same case. Um, I think that was around $500 less, but yeah, the price was a bit of a shocker for me. But I do really like that dial. That's a nice dial, but I wouldn't buy it over a Caliber 400. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Okay, moving on. Uh, a negative way in which I have been influenced in this by being part of the watch social media is the oh no, I mentioned that the fact that I've been considering different color dials now that I've when I look at my Instagram page and I see a whole bunch of white dial pictures, I'm like, oh man, I've got to I got to get a different picture in there. So yeah, we already spoke about that.
But
So
do you think anyone notices that besides you?
I don't really think so.
Yeah.
I mean, not there's not a lot of people who actually go into the profiles and
Right.
scrolls through all of it, right? It's just kind of an OCD thing that I do in trying to maybe in a sense perfect the Instagram page.
Hmm.
And yeah, another disclaimer: I'm really ashamed of these things. It's not it's not something I'm proud of. Um, but yeah, I guess I hit my last point then. I forgot that I hit that in passing the last time. So we can move on to the next topic that we had. Um, the one you suggested first was pros and cons of watch flipping,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
being a minimalist versus instant gratification.
Yeah. Actually, I have a comment that I saw that was interesting about this, but yeah, the
Yeah,
reason I thought about this is because I consider myself to be a minimalist, and the watches is the one area I let myself go a little crazy.
yeah,
But from a minimalist perspective, when you no longer have when that thing that you own no longer has value, or you're no longer getting use out of it, the idea of like flipping it, selling it is a great idea. Get rid of it. But I think it could go overboard. And I think we're seeing that from people that they just constantly flip and buy and flip and buy for the instant gratification of buying. And then, so it turns a good thing into a not so great thing.
yeah.
Um, and I'm going to look for that comment that I saw. So I was watching, I saved too many pictures on my phone. Oh yeah, I was watching a random Rob video, and someone posted a comment that said, "Too many people are dopamine addicts, always wanting that feeling of new, that feeling of anticipation. You know, if anyone is a flipper for life, it is because you are craving that shot of dopamine, which is given to you by selling your watch and buying a new one. And in a couple of months, you'll just want another hit." So, and I don't think that's the case for everybody, for sure.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just like to try out new stuff, um, because it sucks being into watches and not being able to see them in person most of the time, especially, if you're into micro bands and stuff. There's really not a way to see it without buying it.
yeah,
Um, but I do think you can appreciate a watch without owning it as well.
Yeah.
So I was curious what people's thoughts on, or yours or people in the chat's thoughts were on that. Because
Yeah.
listening to, I know you listened to Clayton, the Watchdog podcast,
Yeah.
and he kind of experienced that too, where he talked about a situation where he bought a watch, he put on the watch, and right when he put on the watch, he was thinking of how he could sell it for another watch.
Yeah.
And that's when he realized that he needed to slow down. So he took a break from doing that.
Yeah. I
So
think
yeah.
I think he said that he was already planning on how to sell it when it was still getting to his house. Like, it was still being shipped, if I'm not mistaken. So that
Wow.
that was a whole other level.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I do that. I definitely do that. Um, I guess I had the excuse of the channel, but it's undeniable that there's a hit of dopamine when you do see something new, when you open up a box for the first time, or see that watch for the first time, and put it on your wrist, and there's that that gratification that you do get, and it is addicting for sure.
Hmm.
And the excuse that us YouTubers can do is say, "Hey, we have a YouTube channel. We got to make content," and it's not really an excuse, especially in my case, because I'm not looking to promote or get bigger or make it my job or anything. So it's a horrible excuse saying that it's for the YouTube channel, but yeah, that is the excuse. And um, I guess the the thing about doing that is that you kind of lose a lot of willpower. You kind of become weak in other aspects of life. At least I found in resisting things, and I find because of I don't know if I'm making false connections or anything, but because of how um, easily I've come to flip stuff and get new things and move things along. Um, I've kind of become less restrained and eating more candy and things. When I didn't used to always eat candy or ice cream, cup of ice cream before bed or something. All those things that I used to resist, you kind of become weakened because of again, I could be making false connection there, but I feel at least that it leads to just a weaker willpower uh,
Hmm.
in general when you're trying to restrain yourself, resist yourself when you've not exercised that willpower in so long. And
Yeah, I mean, my strategy when I first got into watches, where I told myself I'm not going to buy more than one watch a year, and um, I really wanted a small intentional collection, but I felt like that put way too much pressure on each purchase too. So I went too far the other way. I bought my first watch, and then it took me a year and a half to buy another watch because I was so you know, crazy about making sure it was the exact right purchase. And if I knew that, I'd like to buy and not sell, but really that's not realistic too, because even though I love this clean ocean that I just bought, it's possible in 3 years I won't like it. Um, but on the one hand, I like that idea of each watch that I have, I could say like, oh yeah, that's my 2020 watch and that's my 2021 watch. But then I start thinking, well, I didn't buy a watch in 2019. So does that mean I have an extra that I could buy? I'm already like trying to justify myself buying more watches, but that's the exact thing I'm trying to avoid doing.
yeah,
So I'm no better than anyone else.
no, no. Um, but yeah, in general, I think that minimalist attitude is probably the best, at least for your health, your mental health, and um, just in terms of restraint and on all forms of life. I think minimalism, refraining from splurging, refraining from indulging yourself so often. I mean, if you do indulge yourself and you do so safely, then who am
Mhm.
I to say don't do that? But I think in general, being restrained and only um, only purchasing something you decide to keep, considering that money, lost money. I think when you do go about flipping and moving stuff so often, it becomes that's when value retention becomes such a huge thing, right? Sure, it's good to know, in case you do have to get out of a watch, it's good to know that you are not going to lose a ton of money. But I think it's more important to those who are constantly looking for the next one, right?
Hmm.
Someone who buys a watch and then is already looking at the next one. That's the kind of that's kind of when value retention becomes a huge deal. And so all of that can be put aside when you know you're going to keep what you have, when you do your homework, when you're really sure that this is what you want, and you get it, and then you allow yourself to enjoy it. You're satisfied with it, and I think that would in general be very healthy for you in terms of peace of mind, um, and just not being obsessed. uh,
Right, right.
Sleepless nights and
And it helps when you buy pre-owned. I've never bought a pre-owned watch before.
right.
So, I mean, that helps the economics of things. So I did be more willing to buy one that's might be a little scuffed up or something.
Yeah.
But that's what I worry about too, is the economics of losing money on purchases and how much, are you willing to lose? And it's a guessing game, and you don't
Mhm.
know exactly what's going to happen. And you're either paying eBay a lot of fees, or you're taking a hit selling it to like Crown and Caliber or Watchbox or something. So
Mhm. Yeah. Peter says that in important stuff, he's very stable, wife and house, but I enjoy buying and selling watches. So that could be a thing, an enjoyment. It could be the fact that uh, having a collection that you sell on could be the hobby in itself, not the
right.
actual watches. But that's a good point, Peter. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing
and
that.
just to as a disclaimer, just because I feel I'm not big on the flipping doesn't mean I think it's better for anyone else.
No, yeah, yeah,
Um,
same here. Yeah, same. Just because I am crazy about, I overthink things like Instagram and YouTube and things like that doesn't mean it's wrong to do those things. It's just
right, right,
yeah, and like all of the things that we talk about, it's just us, and
right.
we're human, and we're growing people.
Yeah, I don't have all the answers, that's for sure. I
Yeah,
don't think I know everything there is the best way to live someone's life. So,
yeah, yeah. So if you want to correct us, feel free to, because if the
and
more information we have.
I reserve the right to become a flipper at any moment, by the way.
Yeah. Just Matt says, I now typically let an interest in a watch sit for some 6 to 9 months or even a year, and try it on the ED a couple of times over that period before I know that it's not just an infatuation. That's a really good tip.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's what happened for me with the Clean Ocean. I mean, I've really been into that watch for I'd say at least over a year,
yeah.
of constant videos. And my wife's glad I bought it because she's sick of hearing about it. So, but yeah, I just really overthought it.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive purchase of mine. So that was a mental hurdle to get over as well. But yeah, I overthink. And my friend says, I was looking for like, I don't know, something like a mop or something like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll see which ones are good. And my friend's like, can't you just go to a store and buy it? I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. I should. Life is short, as you say. So
Yes. Yeah. Go check the reviews on the mops. Yeah. Chad says, my wife is an accountant. I have a built-in early warning system. That's great. Anson says, yeah, we always say life is short, and this provides me with the justification to pull the trigger with greater ease on purchases. Yeah, I think my life view of life, because it's so short, in a sense, like I'm constantly saying, in my head, I'm saying I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, and because of that, it makes me the bad side of me always thinking like that is it makes it very easy for me to be impulsive. I say, hey, I'll wait 6 months and look at it, and I instantly think, I don't know if I'm going to live 6 months. How
right.
am I gonna see if I live 6 months? And I'm not guaranteed that, so I should buy it now. Sell what I have, buy it, just flip. And it's a really bad side effect of me saying life is short. And I think Anson hit that on the head pretty well. Chess. It's a hobby for me that involves a collection. All collections involve buying and selling as the collection evolves. That's true. Except, yeah, it's true for most instances, except say like stamps or coins or things like that. Those collections, I think you just accumulate. Actually, I've never collected stamps or coins, so I shouldn't speak on that. I'm sure some people do trade, collect, flip, buy, sell coins too.
Still, you're
So
not putting those stamps on a letter.
yeah, no. I used to collect stamps when I was a kid, and it
Oh,
was
really?
always the stamps that came in letters, so they weren't pristine quality or anything. I started to get into collecting coins, but I got out of that pretty quick. Miguel says, such a great topic. I think watch addiction is a serious disease. It's sad that people think it's a joke. Promise you it's not. My friend Piros gets a new watch weekly. Seems like he's never happy.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and that's something Penny I've seen ask people in chats, and I think she asked this in your chat on Thursday. I think that was Thursday, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. But
See, yeah.
when are you going to be content with your collection?
Yes. Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that a lot because I think if that's what you're searching for, it's not going to happen.
No.
Um, you know, you're complete. You're a complete person in a room with nothing in it. And if you're someone that thinks like, oh, with my living room, if I just have this chair, my living room will be complete. Or if I just have these shoes, my outfit will be complete. If I have
Yeah.
these extra watches, my watch collection will be complete. And I think what you find is when you buy that chair or shoes or watches that you don't have the satisfaction that you were hoping for when that happens. So if that's, yeah, I feel like that's a failed task to look for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely true. Yeah, that was a great question Penny asked, and it kind of
Hmm.
stuck both of us, Mister B and I. We- and yeah, I mentioned, you know, contentment. We really don't know what that looks like, and it's probably never going to happen. If we're constantly grooming and building a collection itself. So, yeah, it's a good point that we're kind of complete without a collection. So
Especially if you're like, if you're watch enthusiast, and if I said, "Oh, this is the last watch I'm buying," then it's like I'm not allowing myself to get excited for other releases. It's kind of like, I'm really into music. It's kind maybe this is a bad analogy, but I'm really into the band Blink-182, for example, and they're working on their 10th album. And I'm not going to say like, oh, once they come out with this 10th album, I'm good on Blink-182 albums. That's it for me. It's like, no, I'm always going to be looking forward to their new album. Now
yeah,
it's different. I get to listen to that for like $10 or for paying Spotify or whatever, and it doesn't cost me hundreds of dollars. But if you're super into the hobby, I think you're always going to be looking at other watches.
yeah,
Um, but if you're someone that has a complete collection, you're good with it, then you're a stronger person than I am.
yeah. As that willpower we were talking about,
Right.
well exercised. But I think it was interesting because Tim Mosso doesn't have a big collection, and he mentioned something on the Monday night stream. He said what he does, he's just a watch enthusiast. He doesn't change when the cameras turn off or something.
Hmm.
What he does is he goes home and gets a drink and goes on Chrono 24 and eBay, starts looking up watches, and he has one watch, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He just has the Zin EZM, and yet this guy who's very knowledgeable on watches, who we would not argue that he is a watch enthusiast. He
Hmm.
has one watch, but still he's looking at prices and he's looking to buy, not necessarily actually put the money down, but he's
Hmm.
always looking to buy a watch. And that's I found that really interesting when he mentioned that. So
Granted, he gets to play with watches all day, though.
yeah,
That's the difference.
yeah.
I don't get to see watches every day.
And I guess it doesn't terminate us when we say we're done, and we're satisfied with the collection. It doesn't terminate us from being a watch enthusiast, as some might
Hmm.
think.
Oh
Right?
yeah, for sure.
Because, in a sense, in my head, I used to be really into Leathermans, not knives, and not multi tools in general, but just specifically Leathermans. And there was a phase where I had a ton of Leathermans. If you're not familiar, Leathermans are these
Mhm.
multi tools. I don't have one near me, but um, It's got a knife in it. It's got a screwdriver in it, and it's really high quality. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but big. It's got pliers, scissors, things like that. And you wouldn't think one would be enthusiastic about that, or one would be really into that. But I became super into it. They had like these huge sheer kind of Leathermans that fold into like this really cool package, and I had a lot of them, and I was going down this massive rabbit hole. Um, and Yeah, once I I purposed to say that I'm gonna have one titanium Leatherman, and I'm done. And once I said that, I completely lost interest. So
Mm,
once I said I was done, I bought it, and I said, okay, I'm done buying Leathermans. I just lost interest in the news, Leatherman news. I lost interest in what's coming out, and I
mhm.
don't even know anything. Yeah, I mean, I heard something came out recently, but I don't know what came out with Leatherman. So I wonder if I said to myself, I'm gonna get one watch, and if I fully 100% willpowered into it, and I said I'm not gonna buy another one, I wonder if I'd actually completely lose interest in the
Huh.
watch movie. I don't know if I would. And there's something, there's like more roots in the ground now because I have an Instagram account and I have a YouTube account to kind of um, keep me busy in a sense, keep me in the hobby. Like it's another root holding me down. But I wonder if if that's even possible. But it's a hypothetical question. I don't think we'll find out the answer to that.
No, not today.
Yeah, not today. Uh, but Miguel said that he bought his SPB, that is the 62 mass gray dial, and he's starting to look at other watches now. Yeah, I think that's the enthusiast thing, the watch addict thing, where we're always going to be seeing the next watch, except you, Keith. You're solid.
Yeah, if only.
Jason, man, thank you. There's a lot of guys who are great and very supportive.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like when I see people like Miguel at SoCal Watch Reviews, I want to say like, "Hey, they just had a great interview with Mark from Long Island Watch." Like every
yeah,
time I see someone who has a channel, it's just like, "Hey, watch their channel. It's great."
yeah, yeah, it's true. I kind of do that. It's like, hey, Penny's here, guys, check out Penny. Or, hey, Miguel's here, check out Miguel. I have the interview from Long Island Watch, Mark. I have it in my watch later. Still haven't got around to it, but it's getting close. Like it's ticking up, and I'm getting close to hitting it. So I'm looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah, actually, a good channel to watch for the topic we've been talking about is Jeff McMahon. I know a lot of people know his channel. He talks about watch addiction and watch obsession, and he acknowledges that he has a problem, but he also knows that he's still going to be into watches regardless. So
Yeah,
it's a definitely give and take, like we've been talking about. So that's a good channel to watch too.
it is. It is. And one thing he's talked about is the fact that I think us with these collector or obsessive personalities, if we do plug this leak that is in our head that is watch enthusiasm, another leak will spring up.
Right.
It could be something else. And I found out with, I used to be into tech, consumer tech, and I plugged that leak up, and then the Leatherman enthusiasm came up, like multi-tools. And I plugged that leak up, and watch enthusiasm came up, and what's going to come next if I plug this leak? So I think he's a really interesting philosopher when it comes to watch thoughts, and in
Mhm.
general he seems like a philosopher in general because he has other things that he talks about on his
Right.
channel. And yeah,
Snacking,
yes,
bodybuilding.
yeah, kettlebells. So yeah, definitely go check out Jeff McMahon. He's a great guy. uh Pseudoscientist, good to see you. So I watched people spend thousands on a video game called Star Citizen. You can look but don't touch it. I asked them years after spending, which they spent in BTC, Bitcoin. Game never came out. Starting to think the same thing about watches.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's what we don't know. We don't know other people's financial situations. I'd be really curious to know, and this is something Clayton talked about recently. He asked his friends how they budget for watches. And, everyone says don't compare yourself to others, which is really true because I bet there's people who really overstretch their finances to be able to afford the watches they have. I bet there's people that can easily afford the watches they have. There's people that have to diligently budget. So everyone's in a different place. So I think, one of the negatives that you were talking about is of the watch community's comparison to others. So yeah, keep in mind that you don't know someone's situation.
Yeah.
And so just be happy with what you have, no matter what that is.
Yeah. Peter says, my wife and I keep each other in check.
Well, my wife knows that I'm a diligent saver, and I've mentioned this before. I'm a big saver. I've always has been. So she encourages me to spend money. It's like the opposite.
My wife is incredibly supportive. Supportive, just amazingly supportive, and she, yeah, she won't tell me. I guess I'll know just from her tone if she's not happy, but she won't ever tell me that she's unhappy. So or disappointed with me if I purchased something or if I sold something or
Unless you're wearing a two-tone royal, and then
yes, unless if it's actually completely disgusts her. Yeah, like the two-tone Tudor oil. I want 10 to 20 watches from 1500 to 600, so I get it. Spending thousands may be a mistake unless your family has lots of zeros. Yeah. 10 to 20, 1500. Yeah, 1500 to $6,000. Yeah, I guess it's easier to split your collection and to sell pieces if you had to when you had 10 to 20 pieces rather than having to sell like a $10,000 watch, which would be much harder and less safe, I guess, if you're going the Craigslist route or something. But yeah, that's a good point. I have zero emotional attachment to any watch except the one that belonged to my dad. If every other watch I have were gone tomorrow, I wouldn't shed a tear. I would. If I lost or if I had to sell, I guess my SBGY 003, which is my favorite watch, and I'm able to have it, I would do it. I would definitely do it if it needed to happen, but I would shed a tear. But I do enjoy this hobby, and don't forget that it's a hobby. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely a hobby. It should not take precedence in your life. All good points, Tudo. Yep. Tank T, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I said I was done about 20 watches ago. Just gonna burn through this real quick. I'm pretty sure if I did not consume as much watch content, search it out, I wouldn't buy as many watches. If you didn't hear about new releases, I don't think the desire would be as strong. It's absolutely true. I think the fact that we're so in the know does fuel a bit of that spending, and that needs to be the next best thing. Like the white birch, which I almost made an appointment to go see today, and almost made an appointment to sell this watch for the white birch, thinking it fits in my collection, and yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that, but yeah, temptation is a real thing, as Peter says. Good to see you, Amin. Thanks for joining us. Bobby says, I've lost temptation to buy recently and never been more happy about it. That's really good to hear, Bobby. Would rather one watch of great quality and maybe brand name than 10 to 20 watches because the likelihood to flip is higher in the latter. Yes. I too would prefer one watch over 5 or 6 or 7. Only because it would give me a peace of mind in terms of watch rotation, give me a peace of mind in terms of that what Bobby was talking about, the urge to flip, to shave, to refine your collection, so to speak. So I think I too would like one watch rather than 6 or 7 less expensive watches. What do you think, Keith? Would you go one watch or multiple watches?
If I said, I mean, I like the idea of one watch, but if I thought that, then I would just do that.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, Jeff and Man talks about when he gets to 6 or 8 watches or whatever the number is, then he starts to feel anxious about it. And I don't know what the perfect number is, or there probably isn't one because I haven't had, now I own 4 watches. That's the most I've ever owned. I don't see myself having many more than that. But I don't know what the future brings. So
yeah. Chaz agrees. Watch medicine, less is more the longer you have been into watches. And intermediate gamer, good to see you. With one watch, I would get bored easily. It's nice to have a couple to switch up your style. That's a good point too.
right.
Yeah. Um, and I know Bobby has an insane, beautiful, wonderful collection. Um, so yeah, I I guess yeah, same. I like the idea, like you just mentioned. I like the idea of having one or two watches. Um, but in the end, variety is the spice of life, as they say. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would probably resort to 5, 6. Um, smaller watches than one big watch. Like I guess if I sold everything right now, I could get like uh I don't know, an overseas or something, VC overseas, but I would be completely unhappy. Even though I love the Vacheron Constantin overseas, um, I know I would be entirely unhappy. Or rose gold Grand Seiko. Um,
Mm.
like I could sell everything, get a rose gold manual line Grand Seiko, but I'd be so unhappy.
Man, I
But,
love rose gold. I just
yeah,
love it, but I don't think I could ever drop the cash necessary in order to buy one.
yeah,
And then it's, a softer metal on top of that. And you were talking about that a couple days ago. But if Laurier, I've given this idea to Laurier. If
yeah.
they have a PVD yellow gold watch, if they could do PVD rose gold, I'd be very interested in that.
All right.
That's a good that I could have rose gold and not have the cost of having real rose gold. I think that's a good
Do you have
way to get that look.
do you have any other watch brands or watch options in the rose gold category? There's quite a few PVD rose gold cases out there.
You know, Ryan Knife Watch, he
Yeah.
has a rose gold watch, and I didn't recognize the brand name on it. I did look it up once, and now I can't remember what it is. But I don't. I need to look into that more. I don't know of other ones out there.
There's a let me pull it up, but there's a sharp edge with the I think
Oh,
rose.
really?
Yeah. Um,
You're talking about the case and the bracelet and everything.
there's no bracelet on it.
Oh, okay.
It is how would you say? Yeah, it's got a strap and a rose gold case. Come on.
You broke it. Oh.
Yeah. There it is.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely want a rose gold bracelet as
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
think. But really, a dress watch in rose gold would be cool too.
Yeah. And well this would probably classify as a sports watch because of the water resistance and whatnot.
And it's a
But
brown dial.
yeah, it's a brown dial. But I guess it's nice, but then you can't really pair it up with an aftermarket bracelet because there'll be a huge color mismatch between the metals.
Right, right.
Kind of always has to be on a strap.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you're a bracelet guy, that kind of is no go.
Mm-hmm.
Seiko did do a um, black PVD bracelet and case with a sharp edge. But and of course it's hard coated, so it's got their dye shield coating,
Okay.
so it would weather the storms of life pretty well, I think. But yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't do that with the rose gold. Maybe it's a bit too blingy. Um, Yeah, that's weird. You would think they would. It would be cool to see Seiko do a full PVD rose gold case and bracelet. My only issue with more watches is the servicing cost involved in the future. I always try to have some quartz watches in the loop.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's the case for a lot of purchases in your life, is you
Yeah.
really got to think of the hidden costs associated with something,
Hmm.
because the price is never the price. You need space to store it. You need to whatever you have to do. Yeah, service costs. That's one thing I would be really worried of buying a higher end watch. Like
Yeah.
if you had to get a service cost for a spring drive, what does that even cost?
I don't even know.
You probably don't want to know.
Yeah. It has to go to Japan, I think. As of now, it has to go to Japan. Um, Especially my manual wind one. But I don't anticipate it being cheap. It would be quite expensive.
That's why I like that the Aquas I have has Salida over
Yeah.
the in-house movement. I'd much rather have that.
Yeah, that's something I prefer as well. If I I mean I don't really get the hype over in-house. Usually it's a detractor for me. If a company comes out with a brand new in-house movement, I'm like, I don't
Right.
want to I don't want to really put my money in that, except when Oris did it, because they backed it up with a 10-year warranty.
True.
Um, so if things had gone slightly differently with Oris, I think I'd be really happy with the Aquas Caliber 400.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a good chance I'll get one sooner rather than later. But usually I prefer off the shelf movements, especially if they got the off the shelf movement and decorated it really nicely, improved it like Breitling does. They get these Solitas or ETAs and then they modify it well. Generally speaking, like I saw a Super Ocean the other day and it has a Solita movement, I believe, uh, 2824, but heavily modified. And the characteristic winding action of a Solita is really rough, or a 2824 clone is really rough, but the Breitling winding action was really smooth. It felt like a 2892. So when like a lot of work's been put into it, but it's still an off-the-shelf movement with no lack of parts in the future, especially if you plan to keep the watch for 20, 30, 40 years.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that's a huge plus for me, to have a off the shelf movement rather than an in-house.
Hmm.
Bobby says just an M1 got an M1 MacBook recently since 2011. Will join your stream soon. As I have a semi decent one. That'd be great, Bobby. I'd love to have you on. We'd love to have you on. So yeah, definitely. Webcams kind of suck. I learned the hard way. I've actually hooked up my phone now, so that I got a decent enough audio, or sorry, a video out. Well, what are you using, Keith?
I'm using a webcam.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's just the built-in with my laptop.
Okay.
It is a
That's
relatively new computer, so I think that helps, but
yeah.
it's my
I
only option.
Webcams are kind of hard to come by. I really wanted a Logitech, but they're sold out everywhere in Canada at least. Uh,
Hmm.
and they're going for extortionary prices in Amazon Canada.
So maybe I'm not using a webcam. Is it built in? If is it a webcam if it's built into the laptop?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
okay.
Um, but my built-in webcam is garbage. If you go back and look at my first stream, that was my built-in webcam, and it was hot garbage. But I didn't even realize it was that bad. But yeah, it'd be great to have you, Bobby. Late arrival, Nilo. That's okay. Thanks for joining us.
Where you been?
Yeah,
We're over now.
yeah, we're almost done. Marat says I have six now. He has six watches. I have no idea how to stop buying new watches. Willpower, exercise. Willpower. Frederick Constant has several rose gold plated models. Oh,
Remember,
stainless steel.
going back to the last comment, yeah, once you buy the seventh watch, you'll be just as unsatisfied with the seventh as six. So if you just keep that in mind, you'll never buy that seventh watch because you'll be like, well, I'll be just as unsatisfied anyway. So
There you go. Excellent advice. Nilo's wearing the GSAR, I think, marathon. That's a marathon. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Um, yeah, so I think we should end it for the night.
Everyone else is leaving. I guess we should leave too.
Yeah. Oh, we've gone a bit long, so that's all right. But yeah, guys, just heads up. Tomorrow night we're having a live show with Bobby or Rob from the Bobby Legs YouTube channel. So go check that out. Give him a subscribe. We're going to be reviewing 3 popular videos from this past week. So it should be fun. Be good to have you all there. So join us. Thanks for joining me, Keith.
Sure.
Hope
I'll be in the chat tomorrow.
yeah, sounds good. And I'll see you next week then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe out there.